Hey guys, this is Eric from RuleTheWasteland.com and SecretOfTheInternet.com. Today I'm doing a video about the Vedder Kydex inside the waistband holster. This was sent to me by the guys at Vedder Holster, and I'm not being paid to do this review, but they did send me the holster to let me know. And I told them, like I tell everyone, that I'll gladly take people's products that they want to send to me as long as they know that I'm going to be doing an honest review. So if I think the thing sucks, then that's what I'm going to say. So I don't have any motivation or any necessarily conflict of interest, because there's no particular reason why I have to say that this would be good if it's not, because they just sent it to me. I already have it. There's no contract, no payment, nothing like that. They just genuinely want to have people talk about their holsters and what they really think about it, which incidentally sort of weeds out the real shit, because if people know their product is crappy or at least questionable, they're not really going to send it out under that kind of arrangement, because they know there's a fair chance that it will be, you know, that people will find the flaws with it. So the fact that I most of the time have fairly positive reviews for the stuff that people send to me is because it sort of self-selects for that. When I say, hey, I'm going to say what I really think about it, only the people who aren't worried are like, yeah, do it, because I know you're going to think my product's awesome. That means that they probably have a fairly good product. So just so getting that out of the way, just so you know that there's no conflict of interest with my opinions about this stuff. Now it was sent with this little bag and a sticker, which is pretty cool. And this is the Light Tuck holster, is the one that they sent me. It's a fully Kydex holster for inside the waistband. It's got adjustable ride height by controlling where this goes. Adjustable cant, as you can see here, by loosening up these, you can spin this to adjust how this would sit on your belt line. I prefer a bit of a cant. And adjustable retention with the retention screw here, just a regular flathead screwdriver. It's got a Phillips head screwdriver on the side, and it's got a little rubber bushing in there that you can squeeze, and the tighter it is, obviously the tighter the gun will be inside the holster here. And the clip, really good. Appears to be very strong, although not particularly hard to get on and off. I've had some that, while they're great retention, they're so hard to get on and off their waistband or belt that it actually becomes a disadvantage. This one is fairly straightforward. It's got a little bit of a lip there, so your belt slides right under it, but then is securely fastened on there. So in using it, I didn't have any trouble with the holster coming out when you pull the gun out and having the holster come out with it, because that can be a problem sometimes. One thing I do like about this, let me get the gun. This one was specifically ordered, since these are Kydex, they're made to order for the particular gun that you have. This is for my Ruger LCP, which is my most common carry gun you have right here. And yes, this gun is loaded. I keep my guns loaded. So if you're a safety Nazi, then you can go watch something else, because I perform proper gun safety, which you can do with a loaded gun, believe it or not. So this fits in there like that. Trigger guard is covered, so there can't be any accidental shots or anything like that. Even the magazine release has a little bit of a, so you could probably get at it if you needed to, but you're not going to accidentally bump the magazine release. One thing I really like about this is that it covers all the way up to the edge of the gun there. A lot of holsters stop right here or lower or something like that, and while that won't necessarily affect retention, it does make the bare metal resting against your body, whether that's your skin or your shirt or whatever. And I just like this a lot better, that it's protected, sweat shield kind of thing. So the Kydex, obviously sweat's not going to affect it, but your gun, you don't want it to be super sweaty or anything like that. It's friction retention, so you just slide it out. Snaps in there. Here's it from the other side. And you can, like I said, adjust. Retention is adjustable. This is great fit as far as Kydex holsters go. That's what I've noticed. Very secure. It's not going to come out. Fits in nicely, the gun it was made for. They're actually in Central Florida, which is where I grew up, so that's pretty cool. Now, just talked about, so far, everything I've seen about this holster I like. Now, I pretty much agree with their motto that, like, they weren't, or they have, I forget where they wrote it, but oh yeah, it's right here. It says, we didn't invent the Kydex holster, we perfected it. So that's why there's nothing too dramatically new feature-wise about this holster that would make it particularly innovative. I like it because it just does everything well. All the little things, when you add up a little bit thing here, like a little bit of sweat shield, the good fit, the positioning options, the good clip, good retention, none of those are revolutionary, but when you have them all together in one package for a decent price, it makes a pretty damn good holster. So the only real question is this the type of holster that you really want? I can definitely say without a doubt that in terms of within this class, this is fine. I mean, you're not gonna have any issues with this holster. I've had it for over a month now, wearing it. Not every day, because I'll get into that in a second. This is just not the type of holster that I wear that often. But when I do, like, I can honestly say that if I'm gonna grab an inside the waistband holster for my gun, for this one anyways, it's gonna be this holster right now. It's gonna be the Vedder holster. It's definitely the best one I have for the Ruger LCP. It's simple. Too many of the companies try too hard to make their holsters seem innovative or dramatic in some way, instead of just perfecting the stuff that's already out there. I don't need a holster to do much. I just need it to do what it's supposed to do well. And I think that's where this one really stands out, is you have the options for how you can position it, and then once it's there, blocks the sweat shield, holds the gun well, and isn't too big or clunky. It's simple, but it does what it does well. And that's the advantage of this holster in my mind, is that it barely makes this gun bigger, which is a small gun to begin with, the Ruger LCP. Doesn't really make it any bigger, and it's just an effective way to securely hold it inside your waistband. Now, I will get into a little bit about why I don't normally carry with the inside the waistband holster, but I wouldn't read that as a complaint about this particular holster, because it's not. It's just an explanation of why this isn't necessarily my everyday carry holster. What I most commonly carry, which I've mentioned before, almost every day when I do carry, this is almost always it, is my Galco Ankle Light ankle holster. The reason I tend to wear an ankle holster over a waistband holster is, there's a couple reasons. One is that I like a holster that is comfortable in all sorts of different positions. I always find myself sitting, standing, bending over, jumping, doing all sorts of stuff. And while this is comfortable in any one of those given positions, you can't flow seamlessly through them without worrying about it quite as easily as you can with an ankle holster, in my mind. And especially because of the clothes that I personally wear. Some people can. It's definitely comfortable sitting, it's comfortable standing, so there's no issue there. But moving through those positions when I wear clothing that is, I'm not a very big dude, and so I wear clothing that's fairly form-fitting to begin with. I don't wear big baggy t-shirts, so it's a little easier to notice anything on my belt line or up against my body than it would be for someone who's 260 pounds, wears big baggy t-shirts with a big gut. Like, they're lumpy looking anyway. You're not gonna notice an extra lump on their belt line. With me, you will notice that stuff if I'm wearing just a tight t-shirt. You know, and I don't wear like skin tight stuff, but you can tell more easily anyway. You can't really tell just standing there, and I'll have some video in a second showing that. But you can tell a little more easier than you could with someone else. And if you're sitting down, it's not gonna be quite as comfortable probably as something on your foot if it's on your waistline. But that's just me personally. But as far as the inside the waistband holsters go for the LCP, and they do other guns as well, this is just the one that I tried it out with. This is the one I use now. When I grab an inside the waistband holster for the Ruger LCP, this is the one I grab. So check out the link in the description and where you can find these if you guys are interested. To get my thumbs up of approval, I haven't found any negative for it. For this particular holster, like I said, anything negative I have to say is just related to my feelings on inside the waistband holsters in general, and not to do with this particular holster. Haven't done anything too incredibly rigorous with it. Like I said, just wearing it around normal day-to-day stuff, but that's sort of what this holster is for. Day-to-day concealment inside the waistband. Kydex holster doesn't get much better than this in my opinion. So here is the Vedder holster, light carry, with the light tuck, excuse me. With the Ruger LCP in the situation, I have the belt clip situated at a bit of an angle because this is how I prefer to have it. And as you can see, like I said, this is something very typical that I would wear. And because of the nature of the fit of this, it's going to be more obvious than it might be for other people, even with a small holster and a small gun like this. So that is just a fact of concealed carry that you do have to modify your wardrobe, or at least think about it when it comes to concealed carry options. Now you'll see with this holster that even with it inside, that it's pretty hidden. If I have it in the small of the back like that, even on the shirt like this, it's pretty, on a smaller person like me, I'm about 5'11", 165 pounds. Don't have a huge wide shoulders or anything to where the shirt would lay, come away from my hips a little bit. And I tend to wear clothing that's actually to size, not big and baggy. But as you can see, not very obvious. The problem I have is with I'm always moving and stuff. So even though that's fairly comfortable, and I also have a really big booty, so it doesn't lay flat, like up straight up and down. It's sort of at an angle like that. So not only does that push it into my back a little bit more, that it also creates a situation that if I were to bend over, it pulls it away from my body. And that's not related to this holster. It's just related to inside the waistband holsters because of my anthropometry and all that stuff, personal physiology. But the issue I have with the inside is when I go like this, and it tends to like pinch a little bit or bite. And that's not so much an issue other than you can tell. And I can't tell when it happens without having like a mirror or something there. But as you can see, easily concealable. I could certainly go outside, walk around Walmart or the mall, and no one would know that I'm carrying. Lift your shirt up, comes right out. So as you can see, that particular position isn't the best because it does sort of push into my back. But you can scoot it along. You can have it a little more centered. My ghetto booty does still kind of push it up. And that can be remedied too.